apologies. Firstly, the last couple of weeks, week and a half since you've known you've been in the final. I know you're the one who's very keen on process and routine, and have you been very much trying to keep it as normal as possible to try and keep?
Yeah, it was the case this week. So it was a bit unusual because we finished last week on Tuesday evening. So we had 3 days with part training, short trainings, and 2 days off, and a full week to prepare the last fixture of the season.
You've always kept the players grounded through the season. I mean, any hints of nerves? Is there any hints of anxiety?
So far, so good. I think they were well balanced this week, and I think we are repeating what we did all season. So focus on our game, focus on our identity, and deliver, because it will be another tough game. But we are ready.
As you say, they've delivered this season when they've had to deliver, but it's you can't tell what's going to happen on Saturday in terms of how they will react to playing in front of 90,000 people and everything that surrounds the day.
Yeah, it will be different, but at the same time we are exactly where we wanted to be at the start of the season. When we first met with the players in this room, I asked them what is the purpose of the season, and they told me we want to get promoted. Here we are, so we will have this opportunity at the end of the week, and I think we have shown this season discipline, resilience, identity. We went through difficult moments, and I think we didn't win comfortably this season, maybe once or twice. So we suffered, and we are ready for another tough game. But at the same time, the desire, the ambition are really consistent, I think, because after 48 games, we deserve to be here.
Have you been impressed by the players' determination, ambition to be promoted? I mean, even at times, which it would have been difficult for players like Chris Mepham when he's been dropped a few times, but it's always, from what the players say, being very fully behind everybody in the dressing room. It's very unified, very good team spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can talk about talent, we can talk about tactics, but probably one of the strongest quality of this group is mindset, and the way they are connected, the way they are able to manage different emotions. When I'm starter, when I'm not a starter, when I would like to play but I don't play, and so on. They stayed consistent, they stayed connected, and it's probably one of our main strengths.
Have you got a sense that this final, coming when it does for this team, which is still very young, but which got players that we all feel that in the next year or so will move on, is this a one-off opportunity to be grasped, to be embraced with both hands, because it may not come around for another 2 or 3 years?
We don't know. At least we deserve this fixture, and it's not always a question of age. I think it's a question of connection with the path. I think and you can be 17 and you can be ready for this fixture, and you can be 30 and probably you can have a problem to manage the emotions. So they seem mature for that event with this togetherness, because it's always a connection with a project and the life of a team. They seem mature now, and after that we'll find out during the game if it's the case or not, because we'll have an unpredictable scenario, we'll have a strong opponent, we'll have different events, so we'll see.
I'm not sure how much you can read into the games that you've played already this season with them, but are you mindful of the experience that Sheffield United have got in their team, in terms of a team that's you know, many of the players have been in the Premier League before. They've played in front of these sort of big audiences, big crowds, big expectations.
Yeah, sure. They are strong, they are experienced, they have a good staff and so on. But this is the rule of a final. I think we won't have an easy game, an easy opponent. Doesn't exist. So we have to break something to be in Premier League next season.
And also, you'll have VAR in the final, something that the players won't have encountered this season. I know you have in the past. I mean, have you had a referee to talk about that with the players?
Yeah, at the end of the last week, yeah.
What was the upshot
Probably the offside is will be a bit different, because sometimes you can be offside, and if the referee makes a mistake, we can change the decision, and the way you can defend in the box on set pieces probably is slightly different.
Fine, good. Everyone okay? Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, later.
Everyone is available more or less, because it's the end of the season, and you can have small injuries, but you can manage the pain and so on. So we'll see. Merci.
Regis, it feels as though the feel-good factor from last Tuesday is still around the city, the nature of the win, scoring the winner in the last minute like that. Have you sensed that sort of feel-good factor going into the final? Have you experienced it? Have you bumped into any of the supporters when you're out and about, and it's giving you a flavour of that?
Yeah, I think we were connected probably just after the game, and 2 days after with this moment of the season, and after that we switched on the next stage, because the season is not finished. So it's important to enjoy, to feel the energy of the crowd, the expectations as well. But at the same time, the best way to manage the game is to stay focused. So I think it wasn't difficult with the players, because we worked like that all season, and it wasn't different from another event.
When you spoke to the players in this room, as you said at the start of the season, which I'm guessing feels a long time ago now, yeah, and you said that they said you want to get promoted, did you get a belief from them? Did you believe it too, that you could be in this position?
For me, I just received the information because it was tough. It was at that moment to say if it was possible or not, and obviously I think you can create this ambition throughout the season with different events, and but their faith was really strong. So for me it wasn't surprising, but because they were 16th last season, maybe the step could have been a bit high. But at the same time, when I watched and analyzed different games from the last season, it was really obvious that this team was able to play a really good football, but had a lack of consistency. And for me, it was possible to improve the consistency through the methodology, through the work we can have during the season. So good qualities on one side, the weakness was identified, and now it was a question of work and different improvement during the season.
When you see the celebrations that you've seen over the last week, Crystal Palace supporters last weekend, Spurs supporters last night, does it give you an excitement and a realisation of just what you can do to these Sunderland supporters who have been away from the Premier League for 8 long years?
Yeah, the consequences could be massive, but at the same time, it's difficult to anticipate, because our job is to be focused, to be sharp, to be ready for anything during the game. So we want to deliver the best version of Sunderland, and we have to be ready to adapt, because the games are always like that. And if you are too focused on something will happen after, I think it doesn't help the process.
Just finally from me, what will, if you get there, what will your Sunderland team add to the Premier League next season?
Sorry?
If you win on Saturday,
Yeah.
what will your Sunderland team add to the Premier League?
For the future, I don't know. It will be another chapter. I think it's really important to stay connected with the reality. It's now. It's one more session tomorrow to prepare the game. After that, we'll have the process before the game. We'll have 90 minutes, maybe more, maybe penalty shootout. I don't know. So the only focus is this one, and I think the team, the club, the environment, it's still connected with are still connected with this idea, and for the future we'll see later.
Regis, did you know how you want to play in this match straight away after the Coventry semi-final, or did it take a while to sort of think about the challenge ahead?
It's not done. So we'll have one more session tomorrow, and I think we have now 2 or 3 options, and it's good to have these options because it wasn't often the case this season, and sometimes it was a tough condition because it wasn't possible to manage different options to play against different opponents, but it was also an opportunity to grow, because with a constraint sometimes it's tough because you would like to have other options, but you don't have this option, so you have to work on this option, and it will be useful for later. So I think it was the case this season, and for tomorrow we'll have the last session, and we'll decide what will be the starting 11, and then after that who can be the finishers and so on. So we'll see. Yeah.
Only other question from me. All season long we've spoken about the young team. They're such a young team. They're a young team. Do you still think of them as a young team?
From an age perspective, yes, but from the way they work every day, I don't think so. They are really mature, they are open-minded to learn from mistakes, and I think it's really important. Sometimes with I don't want to say older player, but it could be the case sometimes with more experience. It's more difficult to accept your mistakes because you had previous positive experiences before, and it's more difficult to learn from negative experiences. And I think with this group it was always the case this season.
You talked before about the difficulties that you and the team have gone through and the resilience you had to show. Was there a moment in the season where it proved to be a big turning point and a catalyst for what was to come, maybe where you lost your temper or you and the team were particularly motivated?
So it was a long season. Probably, I don't know, a specific event, not really, to be fair. It's difficult to identify one in particular. I think the festive period was tough, with 5 games in 15 days, I think. And when we lost at Stoke, for example, it was really important to react against Sheffield United at home, for example. And we've shown at this moment that this championship is really tough. It's like a marathon, and you have to accept sometimes poor performances because it's just normal. It's just a human to be less precise, to be less intense, and at the end of the game, you don't want to overthink, to overcomplicate the analysis, because it's just human to accept the defeat and that we are not at your best level, and then move on and try to your best for the next game. So it was a good example, I think.
I'm sure you've come over the tape of that win against Sheffield in January. What did your team do well that you wanted to build upon on Saturday, and what do you expect Sheffield to do differently?
We don't really know. It's still useful to analyze previous games, and I think we did our job about that. But it will be a different game, so we can build from 2 or 3 important key points. I think it's really clear, defensively, offensively, and so on. But at the same time, we'll have to be ready to adapt in real time. And we know they have many good players, many good options on the bench as well, so they can manage different shapes, different threats, offensives, and so on. So we have to be ready for everything.
And finally, for me, you mentioned previously that you went to Wembley once as a fan. Now we're 48 hours away from the game. How are you feeling about managing these stuff out there?
It will be another great experience, and for me, I'm always connected with the game, so it's difficult to enjoy the atmosphere because, and it will be the case for the coaching staff as well, we are connected with the event. So the event for us is just the game. So how can we manage opportunities, substitutions, scenario, and how can we help the players? This is the only focus for us. So we'll have an atmosphere around, we'll have support with our fans, 100%. They will help us, sure, but at the same time, we want to deliver the best version of Sunderland.
Regis, what's your plan for managing the players over the next 48 hours? Do you want them in their own little bubble away from all the noise and the commotion that the supporters will bring, or do you want them to actually see what the supporters are enjoying and be exposed to that a little bit?
Bubble. One word. Is it enough?
Not TV.
Yeah, it's important to stay connected with the routine, to be clear, because in these circumstances, it's easy to be attracted by atmosphere, fans, celebrations. I don't know. So to be ready to deliver our game plan, our identity, the best version of Sunderland, and to be ready to adapt from many different events, we have to be focused 100%. So we'll keep our routine.
And looking at the game itself, I mean, it perhaps seems obvious to say, well, how important will starting well be, because you mentioned the emotions there. At a stadium like Wembley, you can easily get swept away in the emotion, whereas you might want a good start to obviously just settle everyone down.
Yes, we'll have to be cold. It's really important. And the 2 previous games against Coventry were useful for that, because the semi-finals were really tense. So 2 other experiences for a young team. And the third one, we know that it's just one leg, so 90 minutes, maybe 120. So mistakes, the consequences of mistakes are always more important in this game. So yeah, it will be tough. Yeah.
And just finally, it's been touched on slightly already, but all season long we've spoken about this young squad and how young they are, and come with pressure and maturing. But could this be their coming of age moment?
Yeah. When you are young, sometimes you don't assess the consequences in the same way as well. So it's an advantage. It could be a problem, but it could be an opportunity as well. So I think the team is really balanced, and the way they behave this week, for example, was really balanced. So I'm not worried by that, to be fair.